What makes a great top line? What are the key ingredients that make a great line go?
Well, it's a great question. I think chemistry, one of the things when you say chemistry is if you get along, if me and Mike were best friends and you know, you talk about it all the time and I want you to succeed, you want me to succeed, and you do it together. That's one thing. But I think as a combination, you need a guy that can forecheck really well. You need a distributor, a great playmaker, and both guys on the wings have got to be able to score. And if you've got the great playmaker in the middle, the forechecking guys, and you can cycle and you can do all of those things, it usually makes for a really good line.
Was it extra effort to hang out with your line mates to build that chemistry during your playing days, or is that something just came naturally over time?
Yeah, I just think it's something that you know, you see some guys going out of the way. Maybe they're sharing car rides to the rink and they're trying to find. Usually that's the top end guys that they kind of they have to make it work, you know. And guys will talk about it, and you know, on the power play and communications that way to start understanding how the other guy thinks is something that goes a long way. But a lot of times it's just you experience some success out there and you just start getting in that groove. You start finding that groove with one another. Come off the ice, you talk about it. Nowadays, you see the iPads coming out, and guys are looking at it, and it's, you know, it doesn't take that long to kind of find what each guy's thinking.
When we have the top line conversation, by default, we always go to Colorado or Boston. Today, we're not doing that because there's a lot of other good top lines in the NHL.
I don't think those two are the top of this year so far.
Ooh,
you know,
right.
that doesn't mean they're not overall, but
they're
just
right
this
up
year,
there
there's some other ones.
Yeah, all right. So who are some of the other ones? What's another top line that is maybe flies under the radar just because of the narrative we just talked about?
I'm going to try to dig a little deeper on it because we know about a lot of the other ones that are out there. I mean, you're talking about the McDavid, Hyman, and
How deep you going?
I'm gonna go one that shouldn't be that deep. People should know about this line. It's Robert Thomas and Vlad Tarasenko, and in this season it started off here with Barbashev, and then they had some injury issues. Obviously with Shen, they had to move Barbashev to center, so then Kyrou goes on that line. They haven't missed a beat, so I think any time you can have Vlad playing on the third line and he's being productive, probably just as productive as he's ever been. Robert Thomas has been a big reason why this line has been awesome for St. Louis, and that's why they've had some success so far.
It wasn't that long ago that Vladimir Tarasenko announced he wanted out of St. Louis. Are you surprised at the turnaround and how well it's all worked so far to start this year?
If you're winning. That
smiles on everybody.
Here's all things, you know. So I would assume that that's done with for now at least. And this team has shown so far in the season, I think they're a cup contender. And when they're healthy, look out, this Blues team, they're really deep.
Well, I really agree with them. I love the Blues. I mean, not love the Blues, but I really like their hockey team.
Yeah.
And but the line I think that's really been special is Calgary's line of Tkachuk, Lindholm, and Goodrow right now. If you look at their numbers, I mean, I think they're all averaging around 13 points a game. And they're all averaging +9, which tells me that they can play against any line they want, and they're still going to come out on top. And, I mean, they've got the forechecker in Tkachuk. They've got the playmaker and scorer in Lindholm, who's a great distributor, and Goodrow is just a natural goal scorer. So, I mean, I think that line has really propelled Calgary where it is, and it's why it ended up putting Sean Monahan down to the third or fourth line.
How about the Ducks? How about the start Troy Terry's off to right now? 11-game point streak. He's paired up with Ryan Getzlaf and Adam Henrique. That's maybe a team that, you know, East Coast bias. Not a lot of people staying up late to watch the Ducks, but they should.
They should, yeah.
What's impressed you about the way that line has started?
I think what Bruce said there, too, at the beginning of this segment was you got to be able to do different things. So if you're going to have just dancers out there that can dance around the outside and beat guys one-on-one, that's great and that's beautiful when it's working, but sometimes and most of the time it's not going to work like that. Those Connor McDavid-esque goals that we saw over the weekend, those don't happen every night. Maybe with him they do, but no, not many other people can do that. So I think in Anaheim's case, you've got Adam Henrique, who's a fantastic veteran, who's been around a long time, two-way guy. He could play center, he could play wing, he could do everything you want. Penalty kill, power play. He's still got a lot left in the tank, in my opinion. And then you go with Getzy, who is the all-time leading scorer for the Ducks now, and you talk about his size. So he's got that ability. He can play in traffic. He can slow the game down like a Patty Kane. He's big, he's strong, he's mean if he has to. I actually think he's got you would know better than me. He's got a great shot, too, but he's a fantastic distributor of the puck.
Yeah.
So Troy Terry has been this young prospect that has offensive upside through the roof that hasn't really found it yet until now. put with those guys, now he doesn't have to worry about anything. You know, just go play. Go have fun with these guys. And he's got Getzy talking in his ear, too.
And Getzy's been rejuvenated. I mean, last year was probably his worst year percentage-wise in his career. And he's way too proud of a player, and he's had way too great of a career to let that happen. And you look at his numbers this year, and he's distributing. And when you say a great passer, there's nobody in the league that's a better passer than Ryan Getzlaf. And all the fans will tell you that for him to shoot because he never shot enough. But that's what made him one of the best players ever, I think. And so, I mean, that line, if Troy Terry can continue to score like that, will be really good all year long.
We were talking about the Winnipeg Jets, and maybe we don't focus on the top line, but they've got Blake Wheeler on their third line right now. What do you make of Winnipeg? We had this conversation that your philosophy, do you load up a top line or do you like to spread it out? And it seems like Paul Maurice in Winnipeg is spreading it out, and it's working right now.
Well, to win, I believe you need 4 lines in the end, and 4 lines going and everybody having a role, and it's success. Now, I look at Winnipeg this year, and Mark Scheifele's been the guy for years that's been the straw that stirred the drink. And when he went out against Montreal, they lose all the games. When he went out against Calgary, they've lost all the games. But now, with the addition of Pierre-Luc Dubois coming out and having a really good start to the season, now, and there's another line with Connor, and I don't know who plays the other side.
And Svechnikov.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a great line, and that gives them depth with Lowry on the third line, and Kopp throws in there. I mean, that's what, one of the things that makes this team really go.
They might be the deepest top 9 in the entire league, right? When you look at their top 9, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and they've got a little bit of everything, too. And that you mentioned right there, I mean, when you look and you can see the depth players that they have in this lineup, they've got guys who they're starting to get more love. Andrew Kopp's starting to get more love. I mean, they've had guys over the years that have been awesome, and Adam Lowry and types of players that can bump around your lineup anyway, and they provide you something different. And Kyle Connor has always snuck under the radar.
Ehlers.
And Ehlers is one that could take over a game. So they are absolutely loaded up front. And look out for this Jets team. They're a team that I think, don't sleep on them, because they've got a lot, and they've got a really good goaltender as well.
How about the Detroit Red Wings? It seems like just watching their games, they've kind of overcome some adversity. They've taken that next step, and that top line led by Tyler Bertuzzi, my goodness, he'll drag you into the fight every single night. What do you make of the Red Wings and what they're working with right now?
They've been fantastic. And you talk about Lucas Raymond, what he's doing right now, and the clip he's going at. I mean, it's incredible. It's fun to watch. He's having fun. He looks so confident playing, right? And that's what Detroit, we know that they have assets and they have pieces here. And we know what Tyler Bertuzzi can bring to the mix, and a player like Dylan Larkin. But when you see it now, and the thing I love about this group of players is they're all age appropriate here. You know what I mean? Like, I love when we talked about Anaheim, and I love Getzy and what he's doing there with Adam Henrique and Troy Terry, but there's a big age gap between them. These guys isn't so much. You know what I mean? These guys have the potential to grow together for a while. And if they're doing this already, I don't know what they're going to look like later.
It's the first time that Detroit's actually had a number 1 line in maybe 5 years since they were in the playoffs last. And again, like you say, they can grow with them. Now, all of a sudden, they've got that line that's planted. Okay, now let's build the line 2, line 3, and before too long, they got a solid foundation of a team, and they can follow that first line.
Youth movement in full effect on that top line. Lucas Raymond, 19 years old, leads all rookie scoring right now with 14 points. All right, you said it. Those 2 teams, Colorado, Boston, not the top line in the league this year. Who is the top line for you right now?
Oh, it's Connor. It's Connor's line.
And whoever he plays with.
And whoever. I'm not going to disagree with that, because that's an actual very true statement. But these guys actually
How much
are
has
doing
Zach
a lot
Hyman
too.
added to that?
Zach Hyman's been fantastic, and Jesse Puljujarvi's been fantastic as well, and he's found his way, and that's allowed that line success with those guys. And I know Puljujarvi's not new. He came back to the NHL last season. But the fact that he's worked out in that spot, and the fact that Zach Hyman has worked out so well, that's why this team is where they're at right now. And it's not because they're putting up a gazillion points every night from that top line.
Yeah.
It's because now everybody's slotted appropriately. Like they have a hockey team now, and we haven't seen them with a hockey team of the number of years. It's always who's going to play winger with these guys. That's been the question mark with
Oilers for you, top line, or are you going somewhere else?
Like I alluded to, I think the Calgary line has been the best line in the game right now. I mean, because everybody's scoring and everybody's defending. They're not getting scored on. So, I mean, as a coach, I'm sitting back there, and when you want to match up, a lot of times you want to go power against power. I'm putting that power against any other power, and expecting them to come out on top. I mean, you take McDavid, and believe me, there's no bigger fan of Connor McDavid than myself. But I mean, he's with all the numbers he's put up, he's +5, and Hyman is -3. So they do a lot of their damage on the penalty, on the power play. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's the lines that can score 5-on-5 on a consistent basis are the lines that I really like.
Embarrassment of riches right now. We just had like a 15-minute conversation about top lines and didn't mention Boston or Colorado once.
Or Toronto.
We're in a good spot. Yeah, we didn't mention them.
Welcome back to NHL Now. You see it there, line changes, a little segment we've cooked up to look at some lines that we like so far around the National Hockey League. You know, we're not going to hit you with the perfection line. I mean, they've been going for a while now. We're going to come up with...
They're not new.
They're not new. Some of the lines that we've seen that we've liked so far in this season. And let's start in Minnesota, where we have Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson-Ek, and Marcus Foligno.
Yeah,
working together. That's an interesting trio.
I love it. Eriksson-Ek reminds me a lot of Sean Couturier. Big centerman, does well on face-offs, and he's had a heck of a year. Last year, he had 19 goals in 56 games for the Wild. He's coming into his own his 6th or 7th year. And then you look on the flank there. Kaprizov had a heck of a year last year. And Marcus Foligno, the big body in front that just gets after the other team's D, turning pucks over, heading to the net. A couple good bounces around the net this year, and he's heck of a line.
We had Foligno on about 2 weeks ago,
yes,
right?
We did.
We were here together, and besides being a great interview, he also just talked openly about how this is the right fit for him. The city, the team, obviously these lines. This keeps him moving, right? You're a big guy, Hardy. When you played, your feet go on the tracks. That's bad. You got to keep those big feet moving, going up and down, and that's what Foligno's been doing. Physically, completely engaged, as you said, getting himself to the front of the net. What was it? Opening night, he had opening weekend against Anaheim. He had the goal with 7 seconds.
Game,
Yeah, 7 seconds left. So he's been feeling it. He's looked really good all season long for the Minnesota Wild.
And Marcus, too, he just gives the puck to Kaprizov, go to the net. It's a pretty good combination. I give it to Claude Giroux, head to the net, get a goal. So it's a pretty good combination when you keep it simple and give your line mates the puck who want the puck in their hands, and then you get to the net, get rewarded.
Who need it. That's right.
Yes,
they need it to feel like they're doing the right thing. Some guys want to drive the line, and others don't. A guy like Kaprizov, he wants to drive the line.
Yeah. Hey, listen, there's only one puck, right? And if fans out there always look, and they probably go, why don't they put together maybe the 3 best offensive players? But it's the chemistry.
Yep.
Somebody's got to be the playmaker, somebody's the shooter, and somebody's the retrieval guy and the physical guy in those dirty areas. That trio has all 3.
Foligno will create some extra space because no one's going to screw around with Kaprizov when Foligno's on the ice because he's a mean
He'll throw
SOB.
He'll throw that Superman punch again. Problems. All right, let's talk about your buddy, Cam Atkinson. He's made the move from Columbus to Philly this year, and he's been working with a veteran in Derek Brassard and then another young guy in Joel Farabee. What do you make of that so far?
Well, the Brassard pickup, how did they know that Kevin Hayes was going to get hurt and Brassard come in that second-line center and play extremely well? Cam Atkinson is just a pure goal scorer. He's got the speed. He brings the energy. And, those 3 guys together, Joel Farabee having a heck of a start as well.
Really good.
Big contract this summer as well. So these 3 guys are just bringing it every night, scoring a bunch of big goals.
It's so cliche. I'll say it, and I hate it when other guys say it, but I'll still say it.
Go ahead.
Farabee's a hockey player. You know what I mean? Okay, of course he is. He's in NHL.
I know what you mean.
He's got it. I remember watching him at BU for the year that he was there. Didn't think he was ready to go as quickly as he did, but he obviously felt he was. Wanted to get out, played in the professional ranks. I really like the way that he moves around with and without the puck. I think Farabee does a really good job at getting himself anticipating to get to seams, to find the puck coming there. He's a good hockey player. I've enjoyed watching him. And I got to tip my hat to Brassard. I didn't know if he had that level still, and he has that level so far this year. Maybe playing with those guys has helped him achieve it, but so what?
Rejuvenated him a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
And those three guys, they win a lot of battles, too. The one-on-one battles, the 50-50 battles in the corners. They're coming up with most of those pucks, and then they're creating offense, playing more offense, which is fun for those guys. They don't want to play defense. Who likes playing defense? And they're making it happen.
The Philadelphia Flyers, they got to play the Calgary Flames last week, and they got a taste of what's going on with the Flames, who've been playing some great hockey. And that brings me to the line of Johnny Gaudreau, Elias Lindholm, and Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, I like all the Flames lines right now, to be honest with you, but this one is interesting, guys, because Tkachuk made the move over to the right side, and boy, these guys have been putting up some numbers.
Elias Lindholm is one of those players that very few people south of the Canadian border know about. Yeah. And I don't even know how many people
they had him in Carolina.
Canada know about them that well. And all he's going to do is continue to help, if not lead him in scoring. He's going to be right up there this year. He's been great, playing 20 minutes a game. He's one of those hidden gems. Johnny Gaudreau has had a gem of a season so far. You look at those assists. His win-loss is low, but on the other hand, he's got a lot of assists right now. And he's looking, you know, talk about rejuvenated, looking good. I like the move for a guy like Matt Tkachuk to go over to the right side, Hardy. I just like the way having a big, powerful guy driving with his inside, his left shoulder driving to the middle, like we saw Kreider for a while with the New York Rangers do.
Hey, look at this. I mean, the fact that they've got Sean Monahan with Lucic and Lewis, remember him with the LA Kings all those years, knows Daryl Sutter pretty well from those years together, Mangiapane, Dubé, and Ritchie, and that Coleman, Backlund, Pitlick line has been really nice so far. So to me, I love the slotting of these four lines.
There's big guys on every line. There's skill guys on every line. Monahan, who would have thought he'd be a fourth-line centerman this year, and he's accepted this role and playing good. Lucic has had a couple goals here lately.
I saw that,
so it's exciting. It's a deep hockey team, and that's how you win consistently when you have four lines that can come at you.
If they're winning, they love Monahan as a fourth-line center. They're not liking that contract as a fourth-line center.
Yeah, no, I don't think the idea is that he's the fourth line. It's that balance, and I got to see them play against the Devils on last Tuesday night, and they just ran the Devils out of the building. They did much the same to the Rangers the night before. They got back home even after a trip and just picked up where they left off. They've been rolling, and I just love. That's a perfect situation, I would think, as a coach, just to roll those lines. And everybody, and you know from being in the room, Scotty, now everybody's on board, right?
Well, you're winning it. You got to be happy. You can't be mad at your ice time when you haven't lost.
You're winning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than the winning feeling in the dressing room. Just everything is better. Life is better at home. Your wife's happier. Your kids are happier.
Family.
You lose a few games. You're just a miserable person.
Go to the store. Nobody's bothering you. Everything is good.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, because they're off to a great start, as we know, haven't lost yet. And you like Niederreiter, Stahl, and Foss. Now, the asterisk is Niederreiter just got dinged up, so he'll be out a little bit. But what did you like about this trio?
I'll tell you something.
Everything, probably.
Everything. Jordan Stahl looks like beast mode. You know, he is absolutely. He looks faster than what I remember him being. He's winning over 60% of his faceoffs. He's scoring from front of the net. You want to talk about creating time and space for his line mates? Yeah. Well, Jesper is fast, and so he gets out there and creates with his speed. Niederreiter's that guy, and he's in a contract year too. There's got to be some incentive there. He's working walls. He's getting to the front of the net. I just saw them play the other night, and I was like, holy smokes, they created a mismatch. That line was, I thought, overall the best line against the Bruins. The night we did that game, they were really, really good. And then I watched them play yesterday again. Stahl line was great out there. So, again, Niederreiter dinged up a little right now, but on the other hand, that line, see, that's what makes Carolina a great team, is that depth.
Yeah.
And that's what they've got this year.
No question about it.
You were bang on about Jordan Stahl. He is one big human being, and he's so strong on that stick. You think you got him angled in the boards, and he just pushes you aside and goes back around the net, holding that big long stick. He's holding it out there. Hard to get the puck off that guy.
How do you win a face-off against that size?
That's what I mean. So strong on his sticks, and then that means you're playing with the puck more. You win those face-offs, and yeah, he's beast mode already this year.
Yeah, he is rolling for the Carolina Hurricanes, as are they. So we'll keep watching some of these lines, and I think we got to bring this segment back at some point, because lines are changing all the time now. It's not like the old days when
pairs. We have pairs now.
That's true. Anything. That is true. I remember years ago, Ken Hitchcock told me when he had Modano and Lettinen together, said we like those two together. We'll bring other guys in around them, and that's how he would change things down in Dallas. But some really nice line combinations around the NHL right now.